the long underground shopping street in the center of Osaka City, the metropolis. Despite its prime location, there was a 7-year period when it was nearly bankrupt and almost deserted. The failure of the underground shopping street was due to careless development and planning during the bubble era. Even today, some places still have unsolved fundamental problems that have only been superficially addressed. In this video, Kurisuta will introduce the past, present, and future of Nagoya. Even on Umatsu's channel, the exploration team will continue to create videos that everyone can enjoy, so please look forward to more channel uploads. Thank you. So, I arrived at Shin Nishikujo Station, where you can transfer to the Osaka Metro Senichimai line and the Japan Railways Namba line. The Suidosuji line goes to Umeda, Namba, and Tennoji. Despite not passing through major areas, it's still considered one of Osaka's main arteries, emphasizing its importance. Shinsekai is a part of Minami, one of Osaka's two main lively areas. Along the Suidosuji, you'll find many high-end brand stores such as Louis Vuitton and Chanel, as well as luxury boutiques. It also represents Osaka. The Shinsaibashi-suji shopping street is bustling day and night. Both Japanese people and many foreign tourists visit here. This time, we'll be covering Christmas. The long arcade stretches straight from Shinsaibashi Station and beyond. Osaka Metro Yotsubashi Lines, Yotsubashi Station, Osaka Metro. Nagahori Tsurumi Ryokuchi Lines, Nagahori Bashi Station is also directly linked. The access is simple and easy. It's about 4 minutes on foot. You might think it's a short walk to the station, but it's not as easy as it seems, especially if your hands are full. Even during the daytime on weekdays, there are always a lot of people here. The construction is quite splendid, and it seems that granite pillars are being used. There are places where light shines in, such as the spacious hall and the underground street. This is because there is a crystal hall under the main road called Nagahori Dori, so the design allows light to come in from the central divider area. The underground street is a total of 800 yards long and is divided into 4 areas: Gourmet Town, Variety Town, Fashion Town, and West Town. Each area is further divided, and there are a total of 8 plazas, each with its own name. If you simply calculate it with 8 plazas over 800 yards, that means there's a plaza about every 98 yards. It might seem like a lot, but you'll soon forget about it. Nevertheless, the walkways here are wider and better designed than other underground streets, which may make a difference. The total floor area is approximately 82 square meters, which is roughly equivalent to 1 Tokyo Dome, or about 7 times as large. As a single underground street, this is one of the largest in Japan. From the second basement level to the 4th basement level, there is an extremely large parking lot that can accommodate up to 1,310 cars. I am not sure what it's like now, but that's how it was. At that time, the underground parking lot was said to be the largest in Western Japan. On the stairs leading up to the ground level, there are large walls on both the left and right sides. They are called the Crystal River Version Mural Series, also known as the Haro. There are decorated art corners. It feels like a bubble era, with art pieces displayed in the underground streets, reminiscent of the battleship Hero. Thank you very much for your kindness. It looks like a spirit drawn by someone named Daibido Sare. I'm curious if there are people who come to see it, since it's set up on the stairs leading up to the ground. But honestly, even for me who doesn't really understand art, I felt a strong impact, so definitely, if you're interested, you go see it. I highly recommend it. I'd also like to introduce some things that don't quite fit the underground street vibe, so I'll briefly step away from that theme to mention them. This building appears unremarkable, but features some kind of art drawn on its exterior. I'm not sure if this art is related to the underground street from earlier, but this is also Christmas themed. This is a related facility of Nagoya. The building stands out with its artistic decor. However, you can't go down or enter the building. You are not allowed inside the building. You can only choose between the first basement floor and the first floor above ground, so you head straight down underground. Kurisuta Nagaba. This building has Kurisuta Nagaba's air conditioning system, so the general public can't enter. That means you can't go in there. The equipment is installed there, which is why the windows are minimal. Depth was set up, and at first glance it looked like a tomb-like building, so it seems they added some soul to it. Now let's go back underground, Krista. We'll wander around until the long corridor opens, and then we'll go back. The Nagahori Passage was built in the 1930s when the Nagahori River was filled in, connecting the central part of Osaka City from east to west. It was developed as a new road. In the central area, small-scale Japanese railway elevated stations were located both above and below ground. From the beginning, there were stations at this location, weren't there? As a street in the center of Osaka, traffic is congested. There are enough parking spaces, so there are no cars parked on the street. But did that become a problem? Full-scale improvements began to be considered in 1991. The Nagatacho area underground transportation created a plan called the Network Maintenance Project. Originally, it was a short line from Kobashi Station to Tsurumi Ryokuchi Station. Because the Nagahori-Tsurumi Ryokuchi line was extended, a station was set up at Nagahori-dori. That's why the station with only a few platforms was removed. The first basement floor became an underground street, and from the second to the fourth basement floors, it was turned into a huge parking lot. And so the plan was to combine them and create a scenic area along the long corridor. In 1992, 19 companies from Osaka City and elsewhere invested in the project. The third sector, Osaka Nagahori Development Corporation, was established and construction began. After that, in 1997 it was completed. Nagahori was finished and open for business. The large underground and above-ground stations were completed as planned, with all issues resolved smoothly. Nagahori Street was also well kept. The opening of the Nagahori Street Crystal Nagahori, which was highly anticipated, happened at the same time as the subway extension, drawing a lot of attention. Many people say that various issues were resolved and the area has transformed into a commercial zone, which is a good thing. However, the construction cost was as much as 9.7 billion yen. A huge amount of money was poured in, which put a strain on Osaka City's finances. It would be good if we could get a return on that investment. The deficit keeps growing, as I said before. As I was talking, I realized that there was a surprisingly large open space underground. It's called the skating rink, and there's a passageway named after it with a skating path set up there. If you go past the Shibuya Hikari shopping street and take the escalator down, you'll arrive here, so there are a lot of people. The escalator decorations are amazing. It feels like that would cost about 9,700 yen. It seems like there are a lot of shops lined up closely together in this area, so from here let's head toward the border area and just walk around for a bit. I'll introduce how Kurisuta Nagahori has changed and what it's like now. From its opening, Kurisuta Nagahori attracted many visitors. However, the business was short-lived. 4 years later, in 2001, a business improvement plan was proposed, but things were far from going smoothly. After opening, the underground mall's sales and station usage rose yearly, but remained insufficient. From the beginning, both the rent income and parking lot revenue fell far short of initial expectations, and the business continued to operate in the red. By 2000, the total accumulated deficit since opening reached 2 billion yen. The bubble burst, but unclear plans made afterward allowed it to continue. Because the expected revenue from Kiminami was low, the outlook for the right shoulder was also bleak. It seems that from the very beginning of the business, there was a big gap between the plans and the actual results, but even so, the plans were not revised and were left as they were. I believe they strongly suspected that if they didn't scrutinize the situation, they wouldn't be able to repay the large borrowed sum. so they intentionally avoided reviewing the plan or were forced to leave it unchanged. Well, it seems that the outflow of store deposit guarantees, which were expected to total nearly 90 million yen when entering the tenant, also made it difficult to manage funds. They took 100 months worth of rent as a store deposit. Since it was paid in advance as cash, it was a huge burden, Kurisuta. Nagacho's underground shopping street had around 100 stores, each temporarily supporting nearly 100 million yen when divided evenly. The security deposit paid for the construction costs. Initially, the business thrived, but in the second year, high rent became unmanageable. Tenants began withdrawing one by one. Consequently, the security deposit return was much less than expected, leaving us with nothing. Even if you consider the security deposit as equivalent to capital, it's still not enough, is it? Basically, it is necessary to return it when the tenant moves out. By the second year, around 30% of the stores have shut down. That's the reality. It's good that it's rich too. Soon after, the tenants filled up, but since the rent was as high as it was at the time of opening, tenants couldn't move in. That's why they lowered the rent, but as a result, rental income dropped. There is also a stance that says, if you can borrow money to move your business forward as quickly as possible, then you should borrow it. They were also trying to minimize the city's financial burden as much as possible. A small amount of capital and a large amount of loans and borrowed funds. Generally, in terms of capital structure, it's said that the more capital you have, the better. The financial situation is dire. Continuing to rely solely on loans will lead to bankruptcy. It's probably just like a paper ship, it'll likely sink right away. The capital is only 19 yen, and as of 2000, the accumulated deficit is 20 yen, so the company was already excessively in debt before any business improvement plans were proposed. Despite a proposed business improvement plan, a sense of crisis persisted and the deficit was only marginally reduced. However, even so, the deficit did not turn into a surplus and the improvement was minimal. The structure of relying on large amounts of capital and loans did not improve, and the company continued to operate in this way. Nagata Corporation was effectively bankrupt by 2004. Development continued with underground malls and the station, but the station was sold, and the sale proceeds were used to pay off debts. It ended up just covering the expenses. It was noted that the company consisted mainly of city employees or private sector individuals with connections, lacking sufficient outside representation. Kurisu Nagahori is the child company of Daimaru.com. They are presently involved in business operations aimed at redevelopment and economic revitalization. It seems that the City Construction Bureau of Hoji City deeply regrets causing significant trouble to the citizens and financial institutions. Osaka of the past was full of diverse and lively things. Many buildings are considered the legacy of reckless development and lax oversight and are referred to as negative legacies. Ebusubashi is one of those structures. If you're interested, you should look up other places with a unique atmosphere as well. Some of the facilities are introduced in my video as well. In fact, since 2005, Chinami has been operating independently and it's been clearly documented. I'm unsure if it was due to Omari's excellence or the prior management's incompetence, but it continued operating at a loss. It's incredible they turned a profit in just 1 year. He was also appointed to a similar role in Osaka Prefecture's transportation department. The revitalized Big Step in Dotonbori has also been restored, and up to this point the flow of the area has been changing, with new warehouses being built all the way to the edge of the Kyobashi area. Suji Square, named after the water clock, is a lively plaza reminiscent of the one near Shinsaibashi shopping street. It's stunning. It can also be used as an event space. Commemorative stones are embedded here, and it seems that these are stones that were once used for the riverbank when the Nagahori River used to flow here, now set into the wall. And this area as well. Many stone craftsmen resided in this area, and stones from famous production sites were transported along the Nagahori River and gathered here, making it a collection site for stones. Thus, it came to be called Nagahori Stone. It seems that the name Nagahori Stone remains as a trace of the river that once existed here, even if only a little. And here too, there is a gallery that has been given the name Hayakukei. There are a lot of paintings on display, but other than me, everyone seemed pretty casual. At the beginning of the video, I introduced some art pieces, but there are also other art exhibitions here. There was also a cat. It seems that the luck is also considered one of the things being sold as art, and the homepage says you can enjoy shopping, but you can also enjoy spending time wandering around the art museum. I looked around at all the art pieces, but when I visited, there didn't seem to be anyone there for the purpose of appreciating the art. During business hours, there are also people who visit Kurisuta Nagaya for the purpose of art. But now, it feels like there might not even be one person a day coming for that. I think in the end, even if they spend money to buy or create the art, it's just left there. I wonder if it was really necessary to spend money on this, but maybe they did it to differentiate themselves from other underground malls. I think they placed the art pieces to offer something enjoyable besides just shopping, so I don't want to easily deny the idea itself. Since they haven't replaced the tiles or anything, I don't think the maintenance costs are that high, so I guess it's fine. Well, that's tough. Even though this is a shopping district that's said to have recovered economically, it's still hard to solve these problems. Some issues remain, so let me explain them. Some of you may not have noticed it in the video, but if you go to the outskirts, you'll see that the number of people drops off sharply. Especially, there are many restaurants called Kurapero. That's the area. Out of the 10 districts, only 3 remain occupied, with the 4th now vacant. Is it because the flow of shoppers has shifted from the Shindori Bridge area to the Kyokai area? That's why things are getting more and more scattered. I thought that on the Kyokai sides, people would be out on the street level shopping in the office district, but that's not the case in this area. Higashikyu Hands was formerly located here. Buildings along this street have 2 basement levels and 10 floors above ground. After Tokyo Hands moved out in 2020, this building has been vacant for over 4 years as of the time this video was made, and it's still empty. It's been hard to find a new tenant, probably because the building itself is just too big to use easily. Still, it was able to operate thanks to the strong customer draw of Tokyo Hands. The former Prista Nagaba site and nearby commercial buildings have been vacant for 4 years, likely due to the area's unsuitability for commercial use. Only tenants with strong sales potential are being considered for these spaces. It looks like the difficult situation will continue. Also, few stores can fit into the elongated floor plan. The Kurisuta Nagaba covers 12,000 square meters but only houses around 100 stores, which is a relatively small number for its size. However, the underground shopping street Namba Walk in the south is Kurisuta. Covering 37,000 square meters, less than half the size of Nagaba, it houses around 200 stores. Although each store has a larger area than those in Namba Walk, most of the space is taken up by common areas like plazas and walkways, so you can really see how much space is allocated to those parts. It's quite spacious for an underground area. Being able to shop in such an open space is definitely appealing, but it's also clear that the layout isn't really designed to maximize profits. I said a lot of things, but when you look at the area near the walls, there are a few empty spots, but overall there are hardly any vacant spaces. I think it's a reward for their economic efforts. Personally, I often come to Kurisuta Nagaba, so I hope they keep doing their best from now on too. Finally, Kurisuta. Regarding the future of Nagaba, I want to say this to everyone in the south. It's grand and it includes green. The Umeda redevelopment makes us feel pushed aside. Kurisuta Nagahori is primarily in the south but is situated at the northern end. The south lacks energy, and if this trend continues, this area might be the first that people abandon. In the midst of all that, there's Kurisuta. I think Nagahori is facing the challenge of how to differentiate itself and how to show its strengths. That's also part of the fun. So that's it for this video, and this video is good. If you thought this video was good, please subscribe to the channel and give it a high rating. I'll see you in the next video.